Hello, everyone. Welcome to Donna's World and to Kick-Ass and Wellness Wednesday. Now, a lot of people have complained or empathized around the fact that I often come across as being gloomy, depressed, and so I've got this new policy of sounding cheerful unless there's a very good reason not to be cheerful, as opposed to always sounding a bit meh. So, today, I want to talk about a couple of things, one of which is the sudden realization that New Year's Day is just a date. You know how people say age is just a number? And that is usually an excuse used by old men who want to date little girls, or little gold diggers who want to justify the fact that they're with old rich men. But hey, that's just me being a bit bitchy. Fact is that a lot of people do say age is just a number for good reasons, in the sense that, they're proving that in their 50s and 60s, they can be healthy, they can be fit, and they feel great, even though they're not young anymore. So in the same spirit, it suddenly dawned on me that New Year's Day is just a date. There's no particular significance to it, in the sense that we must not let it rule our lives or our attitude towards self-improvement in terms of mental health, physical health, or even things like, doing more work for charity. There's so many ways in which we can improve ourselves and improve the lives of the people around us. And all these things come under the general wellness umbrella. So you want to look more stylish this year? That's part of wellness. You want to lose weight? That's part of wellness. You want to have a better mental attitude? That's part of wellness. There's so many aspects of this whole wellness thing. And the problem that many of us have is that if we do not fulfill our highest expectations starting on January the 1st and continuing steadily throughout the month and the year ahead, we kind of give up. Anybody who runs a gym will tell you that a lot of people show up on January the 1st or January the 2nd in brand new exercise gear, ready to become fitter and more, happier, because we all know that exercise helps to lift the mood and banishes depression. And, people start off with such great intentions. And then, by the second week of January or the third week of January, they've already failed. I mean, they've already abandoned their New Year's resolutions. So why I am saying that New Year's Day is just a date is because there are actually several New Year's Days across the world in different countries and different cultures. For example, I've just discovered that the Chinese New Year has been on for a few days and it's just ending now. And so if you miss January the 1st, which is the dominant New Year's Day thing in the world, because that's the sort of Christian Western date that influences so many countries. But kind of in China, they're just doing their New Year's Day now, or their New Year's period now, because it's a season rather than a date in some countries. And I discovered that, just check, that in India, the Hindu New Year is around March. And then there's the Jewish New Year, the Ethiopian New Year. What I'm saying is, just because your January 1st plans did not work out doesn't mean to say that you cannot move on to activate your resolutions on another New Year's Day. And it doesn't have to be the New Year's Day that's tied to your own personal country or culture. And you know what? No matter which New Year's Day you decide to use as a day on which you're going to start a new plan for your life, it's just a date. So, if you don't succeed with the English or American New Year on January the 1st, or you don't succeed with the African New Year in some African cultures or whatever, or the Hindi or the Chinese. Just stand up, you fall down, stand up, dust yourself down, get back on the horse or on the bike, and start again. Just don't give up. Don't say because I didn't make it on a particular day or in a particular season, oh, I might as well forget it till next year or forget it forever, even worse. So that's just a thought, is that New Year's days are just a bunch of dates, and they should not govern how we approach the challenge of self-improvement. Another thing I do is I never want to start anything new till Monday. So it's like, well, if I start on Monday and it doesn't work, let's say I'm trying to lose weight or whatever, and I sort of like fall on a pile of cheesecake, I basically eat cheesecake all week till the following Monday, instead of saying, you know what, I failed today, but I can still get back on track today or tomorrow morning or Wednesday or Friday. It doesn't always have to be Monday. It doesn't always have to be January the 1st. It doesn't always have to be the Chinese, Indian, or any New Year's Day. The challenge of improving your life should be an ongoing thing. It's like a date you should have with yourself. And that date is not fixed. It's something you can do at any time, something you should do at any time. Stop tying your plans to special dates. It's very artificial. It's just a date. Okay? So, the next thing I want to say is that in my video last Wednesday, my sister and myself were talking about this issue of whether people should use weight loss injections like Mounjaro and Ozempic, which are now so famous. And I said that, you know, like so many people, I believed for a long time that all you have to do is eat less, move more, and you can solve your weight problem. And that is so true. Many people are strong enough to do it that way, the natural way. But you know, there are a lot of people who keep on trying to do it the natural way and keep on failing. And you know, it's fine if you're 25 or 40 to keep trying to do it the natural way. But you know what? If you're in your 50s or 60s, you don't have a whole heap of time left. And you actually, if you stay fat or obese, you're like a ticking time bomb, because excess weight is tied to so many potentially fatal health conditions. It increases your chances of getting dementia, Alzheimer's, that kind of thing. It increases your chances of getting several different types of cancer. It increases your chance of heart disease, your chances of having a stroke, and so many other things. So the thing is, you know, if like me, you're 65 and you've been trying to do it the natural way for 10 years or 8 years, or even all your life in some cases, because I used to be very slim naturally when I was younger. But anyway, it's a long story. I haven't been naturally slim for the past nearly a decade. And so the question is this: does a 65-year-old keep on struggling to do it the natural way? Or does he or she say, you know what, for whatever reason, I'm not strong enough to do it the natural way, so I'm going to use a crutch? And so I'm really saying this to advise people of my age or people in my generation, and by that I mean people in their 50s or 60s, to just take the plunge and try Ozempic or Mounjaro, because you know we're running out of time. If you've not managed to do it the natural way so far, you might as well try and do it with help, medical help. And yes, there are side effects, but most people actually do not have severe side effects, and some people don't have any side effects. I've got friends who've been on these weight loss injections for a while, and yes, some of them do get nausea and diarrhea and constipation and other issues, but mostly those symptoms are quite mild and you can keep going through them. Sometimes they fade after a while anyway, they disappear, and some people don't get them at all. So when you think about it, it's really a question of, are you going to keep on being fat because you're not strong enough to do it the natural way? And as you get older, the risks of getting some terrible disease become more and more pronounced? Or are you going to say, you know what, before it's too late, I'm going to try one of these weight loss injections? So it's like weighing up the pros and cons. And I think that when you're an older person, it's pretty obvious that you should grab whatever opportunities you can. Now, there are some alarmist stories about pancreatitis and some one or two quite serious illnesses associated with the chemicals in these injections. But it's very rare. And let's put it this way, it's more common for someone to drop dead from a heart attack because they're too fat than it is for someone to get pancreatitis because they're on Ozempic or Mounjaro. So I'm just saying that, kind of, I've pretty well given up on the idea. My sister and friends have been pleading with me to accept my weakness and accept that, I'm strong in some ways, I'm weak in some ways, and I need the help. So you will soon hear more about my foray into the world of injections. That doesn't mean I'm going to give up on healthy habits. I mean, for example, I am committed to fasting, at least in principle. I really, really believe in what people like Dr. Jason Fung and my fasting coach, Rue, I really believe in them. And I do think that either I'm going to combine the injections with some form of fasting, because there's so many different types. There's the intermittent, there's the extended, there's the alternative days where you eat every other day. There's so many different versions of fasting. So either I'm going to combine the injections with fasting in some form or the other, or I will use fasting to maintain once I have lost the weight I need to lose, because I do not intend to be on injections for the rest of my life. I don't believe I don't buy into the story that's very common that once you start Ozempic or Mounjaro, you're on it forever. No. Once I've gotten to where I need to be, I'm going to sort of find myself some kind of fasting protocol. And for some of you, fasting won't work. You might choose the Mediterranean diet or the Atkins or keto or whatever. But the bottom line is, I mean, I'm not a doctor. I have no business telling you what to do. I'm just telling you that if you've never been able to do it on your own, do it with help. Yeah? And talk to your doctor, because most doctors are very, very, very in favor of people doing whatever it will take, especially as they get older. Okay? Because, if you're very fat and you're 25 or you're 42, you're not likely to have a heart attack. But if you're very fat and you're 55 or 67, you're treading on very, very thin ice. So that's my take for today. I'm sure some of you will totally disagree with me. But I did raise this issue briefly in last week's video, which I did with my sister while she was visiting Nigeria. And I would like to read out some of the reactions I got from the viewers who watched last week's video where my sister and I talked about weight loss injections. And okay, so there's one from Patricia Wask, one of my regulars, and she says, Donu, take the Mounjaro shots. It's a miracle drug that makes all the difference. You can worry about the side effects after you lose the weight. The shots work. Okay, thank you, Patricia. We're very much on the same page on this issue. But it's taken me a long time to come around to it because I felt so guilty. I felt so cheap and so weak, wanted to do it the natural way. And that takes me to my next response from another viewer called Heather Gillette, who's also a bit of a regular. And she says, I had a problem with high cholesterol and tried to lower it with diet and exercise to no avail. For some reason, I thought taking medication meant I was weak and lazy. And my doctor finally talked me into taking the medicine by explaining that it was not about my character, but my health. I heard her message loud and clear and now take the meds and have perfect cholesterol. Yay, well done. It's the same principle as you and your sister, that you and your sister were talking about in last week's video. So best wishes to you both. Okay, so I'm really pleased it's working for you, Heather. In fact, you're an inspiration and a role model, and I am going to get onto that track. You know, I mean, I didn't want to let down my fasting coach because she's one of these very disciplined people. I mean, she's human. She doesn't always stick to her fasting plans, but you know, she's disciplined a lot of the time. And you know, I really wanted to show her that I could do it on my own, but I don't think I can. At least time is running out. I mean, maybe I can when I'm 67, but I just want to sort it out now. And then another response from Kez, who I think may be my cousin, because I have a cousin with a very similar name, and who's very close to her sister. And she just says, sisters rule. And I agree. I'm very close to my sister too. And I'm really, while she was here, my mood was considerably improved. And, you know, one of these days, I'm going to talk about how good relationships with family members and siblings can really improve your mental health. But for now, I will just say, thank you very much for tuning in. Please tune in again on Friday for my regular Friday slot. And if you're only interested in the health and beauty, self-improvement thing, I'll see you next Wednesday. Thank you. Bye.